I thought I'd show you guys around the shop because we have some pretty cool cars here. I mean, we usually do, but today we just have some interesting vehicles, including this Lamborghini, which we'll get to that in a minute. And we've got a couple 993s taken apart. We've got a Ferrari Testarossa. We got some pretty cool cars. But let's first talk about this one right here, which is a 996 Porsche 911 Targa, which is very interesting because I don't remember seeing a 996 Targa. Let's take a look at it. From first look, it looks like your typical Porsche Carrera, but then let's take a look at the inside. You can see the roof, the glass right there, goes all the way back. It's a little disguised. It's really cool. I actually really like it. I'm not typically a Targa fan, but this one is pretty cool. The reason this car came into the shop originally was because the customer was feeling some jiggling on the front steering and found out that the struts were weak, but we were doing our full inspection and we found that the rear tires were 9 years old, which typically not that big of a deal, but we do recommend tires every 6 years, and here's why. Even though we inspected the tires, the tread is very good. When you flip it to the inside edge, they were dry rotting really bad on the inside. They were cracking. We told the customer about it and he was like, oh, no big deal. And we showed him the pictures. He came and looked at it and he was like, okay, got it. Yep, go ahead and get them replaced. And then we have this 2007 Maybach, which looks brand new, by the way, and it's a 57S, which means I think 5.7 meters long. It's like an extra long, and the S is stands for Special. Well, this car has a twin turbo V12, 612 horsepower, 738 foot-pounds of torque, which you're gonna need all that power to haul this heavy, heavy vehicle. And by the way, the Maybach, or Maybach, however you say it, is not a car you drive. This is a car to be driven in. Yes, it's a very luxury car, but all the luxury is in the back seat. So for 2007, keep in mind, this car is 18 years old, and it is absolutely incredible. Alcantara or suede interior, carbon fiber, which wasn't real popular back then, or at least it wasn't real common, I should say. And massaging seats, they recline. I mean, this is an absolute incredible vehicle. You've got your privacy shades, you've got your TV. I'm not exactly sure how all that works. You know, you got your AC vents up here. It's just an absolutely incredible vehicle. Just take a look how long that car is. I mean, the wheelbase on that is insanely long. This car came in with a check engine light and the suction doors weren't working. So the check engine light was on because an air pump was faulty. The secondary air pump that comes on when you first start the vehicle, secondary air pump runs to it's for emissions to help warm up the cats. Well, that pump is faulty and it needs to be replaced. The suction doors, the whole pneumatic system is having an issue. These still ran back in 2007, still ran on a vacuum pump system. And the lines on those, they're made out of rubber, they break, they corrode, and the car's almost 20 years old. And it's a kind of a common failure. Something interesting about this car too, the front brakes, take a look at these. So you have your caliper right here. Well, you have another one right over here. I mean, you have to stop this really heavy car. So you got dual clamping calipers right on the front. Such a cool car. So we have a customer who's a wholesaler and he buys cars at auction. Well, he got a very good deal on this Lamborghini Huracan. It's probably the cheapest Huracan you could find in the world right now. I think he paid $90,000. It has 75,000 miles on it. And at first glance, it looks pretty decent. But let's get a little closer, shall we? We've got these custom painted exhaust tips on here. We've got pinstriping for days. You see this red heat shield that he painted. I don't know about the spoiler there, but he's got this wrap. These wheels are just in pristine condition. I mean, absolutely incredible. And then here we have this carbon fiber down here that's doing just fine. Just in case you didn't know, it is a Lamborghini. And let's take a look at this pinstriping, by the way. Do you know what this is? This is two-sided tape, like 3M tape, and he just didn't peel the backing off. Like, you know, it's double-sided. So he peeled off one side, put it down, and left the backing on for the other. And I wish I could say that was the only place he put it, but unfortunately, it is all over the hood as well. Unreal. And you could see actually the pinstriping here, where there's some, I think the old striping was coming up, so we just tried to put this one over top of it, but you can see the difference. And then it's an Italia, which I was like, oh, the sticker's peeling up. I wonder what's going on here. Oh, I think we know why. Let's just put that back. Now, normally I wouldn't, publicize a car like this in our shop, but the owner is aware that it is not the perfect vehicle, and he knows what it is. He knows what he has. It's not his fault. He is fixing the car up, and he's going to be making it safe. We're obviously doing alignment. We're doing quite a bit of services on it. Take a look at this windshield. The windshield is also cracked. Now, the airbag light was on because of a seat mat sensor that was faulty, and we actually have a trick to fix that. We can find a part from a different Volkswagen to replace the seat mat sensor, because Lamborghini, they want you to replace the entire seat, which I think is like $7,000. So we were able to save the customer lots of money by just replacing the seat mat sensor only. So the other side was Lamborghini. This side is Lamborghini. Perfect timing. So we just talked about the Maybach. He just pulled in the S-Class S600, also a V12 twin turbo. We pulled over the black SL 500. This is the R129 chassis. I like these kind of, but I like the newer 230 chassis better. However, you can kind of, I don't know if we can get a side-by-side comparison between those cars, but you can see how much taller the Maybach is compared to the S-Class. And the S-Class, this one's probably about the same year, maybe a touch older. There is very much a big difference between these two vehicles. Let's compare the engines. All right, so the S-Class V12 engine, right there, pretty similar to this one. Of course, this one has the Maybach symbol. You can see the tag right there, exclusively handcrafted. I don't know if the engines on the Maybach are hand-built and these are not. I don't know if they're both hand-built. I don't really know that answer, but they are definitely both V12. I believe it's the S65 in both engines. This one might be beefed up a little bit more. And then we have the Ferrari Testarossa. So interesting fact about the Testarossa is that on both rear axles, there are 2 shocks per corner of the rears, right? You got normal shocks up front, 2 shocks on the right rear, 2 shocks on the left rear. Well, all these control arms here and these bushings are completely just worn out, and the customer wants them all replaced. The problem is, you know, there's a lot of bushings here. They don't make a special tool to replace them. The control arms, this part of the control arm is very thin metal, and over time they just basically seize in there and almost impossible to get out. So the only option is to cut them out, but you're talking replacing all of these bushings is going to take all week of just cutting bushings and then putting in new ones. So we're actually working with the customer right now to see if we can get another option. We're going to look at getting new control arms. There's not a lot of availability on these, as you can imagine, but we did happen to source all new control arms. They are going to have to come from Germany, or I'm sorry, from Italy, but they are available. So we're currently talking to the customer right now to see what kind of options that he wants to do. Do we just want to cut them all out, press in the new bushings, or should we just go with all new control arms? I would like to tell you the price of that, but I'm afraid to. It is absolutely insane how much these control arms are. Unbelievable. The E39 M5 is one of my favorite M5s. In fact, this customer has been coming to me for like 10 years. He's such a great guy. When I first saw him, when he came in the very first time, I said, if you ever want to sell this car, please call me. And he said, I'm keeping this car until I die. Which of course my response was, well, when do you think you're gonna die? He thought it was funny. He goes, well, no, they're going to bury me in this car. And I'm like, dude, I'm digging you up because I'm taking this car when you're done with it. So the issue with this E39 M5 is that the radio was not working. It was malfunctioning. It was a blank screen. So we went back here and found the module was bad, but it was wet, like it had gotten water in it. So we're looking at the taillight seals. Turns out there was a paintless dent removal at one point, 2 spots here that were drilled, and they put these caps in it, but the caps were not keeping the water out. So when it rained, water just went in this hole and into the car and caused that problem. So now we're gonna have to find a way to seal that up, get a new module, and get it all back together. So this is the new one. The old one's clogged. So you got water building up inside the car.
The old one just has a little flap that gets stuck, and that one doesn't have it.
Oh, they updated it.
Yep. It's all the way at the bottom.
Gotta love the design of a Jag. So the issue is the AC drain was clogging and we were getting water backed up, couldn't quite figure it out. So Brandon went in and he started diagnosing it, was pulling a lot of stuff apart. And when he got in there and really found out what was going on, figured out that the AC drain, there's a flap in there and it just kind of seals itself closed, and then water backs up into the car. So there's an updated version for it. Now there's 2 ways you can replace that drain. 1 is take out the dash and get to it. 2 is take out the transmission and get to it from underneath. Now the easier way to do it technically would be remove the transmission, but he was already kind of halfway in there anyways as he was diagnosing it, so it just seemed to make sense to just continue to do it this way. He did say if he ever gets another one, he's going to take out the transmission next time. But this is the updated part. The one that's in there has 2 flaps and they're just kind of stuck together. This one, the new part, only has the 1 flap, so it won't seal anymore. That little piece of rubber causing all this ruckus. In here we have a 750i BMW, and the problem was drivetrain malfunction. Preston was able to look at it, diagnose it through ISTA, and found a fault that related to the actuators for the turbo, and went through the fault finding of ISTA and basically found out there's a software update for the actuator. So we're going to be doing an update on this for the software that updates it so he can do a new run-in procedure, and it should take care of that. All right, we're gonna go to the back shop. So this is the main shop. The back shop, I have some more lifts back there. We got a few cars. I know we have one 993 with the engine out of it. I think we have another 993 back there getting something done too, so let's go check that out. This is our back shop back here. Oh, beautiful car. And if you were wondering, we do wash our customers' cars. That's Joey over there washing a customer's car, soaping it up, doing a good job. Hand wash. All right, let's see what we got going on in here. So this is the 993 Carrera 4S, and the car came in because it hasn't been running. It's been sitting for a very long time, and you guys can't smell it, but it smells like varnish in here because the fuel was so bad. So what Steven was telling me when he originally got this, he opened up the fuel cap and this was completely rusted. He's now wire wheeled it to make it clean, and this was all rusty in here. We got it all cleaned out the tank, replaced the fuel filter. All right, so here's the fuel pump, and the fuel pump, you can see the fuel was brownish, gross. So we got a new fuel pump in there, a new fuel filter, got everything cleaned up. Now it runs, but now we're gonna do some maintenance stuff and get it all cleaned up and nice for the guy. And then this 993 is getting, well, the engine is out and it's getting a refresh. New seals, they were leaking, rocker covers, valve covers, you wanna call them. So he's going through and getting all that stuff cleaned up. Now the issue with this one, when the exhaust was on it, the bolts were so rusted, so bad, that he had to use a plasma cutter to cut the hardware off. Fortunately, only the hardware was damaged. The exhaust is fine, so we're just gonna end up replacing with new hardware, which we planned on doing anyways. Back here, we have this lime green Lamborghini Gallardo. It came in for a couple of reasons. One, the mirrors weren't working, or at least one of them wasn't, and it had an oil leak. Well, turns out it actually had 2 oil leaks. One was from the crank seal, the front crank seal of the engine, and also the E-gear pump for the transmission was leaking. So Steven was able to get both of those fixed. They're not leaking now, bone dry. And then as far as the mirror is concerned, the mirror adjustment wasn't working at all. We checked it, the mirror motor had power going to it, but nothing was happening. We got a new mirror motor in it. Now we have side-to-side adjustment, but the up and down adjustment wasn't working. So we looked into that, and it turns out the switch, I think because the motor went bad, they were aggressively using the switch, and so the up and down function of the switch wasn't working. We got a new switch. Now it's all ready to go. He's wrapping it up. That should be leaving here today or tomorrow. So I've got a question for you guys. Did you enjoy this video? If you did, please let me know. I wouldn't mind a subscribe and a like. Share it if you'd like. If you'd like to see other kind of content around the shop, just let me know what it is. Thanks. I'll see you next time.